Welcome! Happy New Year! I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! I made this quick and easy calendar, pocket calendar with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for this project on my website, and there will be links for the products that you would like to be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. It is a new year, and with the new year, we have a new mini catalog, and this has some wonderful products in here. I'm using some of the new products from here, but not a whole suite or anything like that. I'm kind of gathering all kinds of different things to put together for my calendar. It's also Celebration, and during Celebration you can get these products for free with a minimum order. If you're in the US, most of these you can get free with a $50 order. And I am sure that you will love some of these products. I make these calendars the last several years for my family with all the family birthdays. I make them for my downline and for my customers. These calendars have my workshops that are regularly scheduled, and also when the catalogs begin, and some of them are guesses. I hope these are helpful for my friends and family, and also they're a very quick and easy gift. I'll have this as a Word document that you can download, and also a PDF. If you have Word, it's very easy to add your own holidays, your own family birthdays or whatever. If it's a PDF, it might be a little bit more difficult. Worst case scenario, you could just print it out and then write by hand the events that you want to add, or even print it out and copy and paste the old-fashioned with snips and glue. When I design projects, I like to start with like half sheets, quarter sheets, or whatever, easy to cut up from an 8.5 by 11. For this project, though, I designed it based on these clear checkbook covers. And unfortunately, these do not divide up well into a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, so it looks like you'll have lots of scraps. And when you print it, you'll see that the December-January side has an outline on it, and there's no outline on the other side. And so you're going to put them on the January and December side and cut on the most outside line. My cover base is soft seafoam, and this is kind of an odd size again to cut up. This is 6 1/4, which is actually the line closest to your hinge here. And then 6 1/2, which is the first kind of longer line here. It's a tiny bit bigger than your calendar pages, and that's intentional. Yeah, I did tell you the wrong. 6 1/8 is actually the edge of this white piece. I have also cut a piece of just plain copy paper this exact same size. So you have these funny scraps. This scrap we can use for our project. This scrap is really a large chunk that I don't normally like to waste, but you can cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4, and this is one of my standard layers that I use all the time. And then another standard layer is 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. And so this makes this a little bit easier to deal with the scraps. This one might be really useful for a greeting. These aren't bad to use, but I will probably toss those. You will also need a scrap of vellum, a scrap of basic white. As I said, you can use this scrap for our project. And you'll also need a scrap of Granny Apple Green. This is some of the Pattern Party DSP. This is a great pack of paper if you don't already have it. I have used a lot of it. This is convenient for 12 by 12 paper because it's 3 by 6. So you get 8 of these from a sheet of 12 by 12. To assemble the card, you're going to staple this. And you want to put the January toward the cardstock. Do take a minute before you staple it to make sure that your months are in order and facing the right direction. It's going to fold. So it's almost square, but not quite. So this should be pretty close. And you want to center it on there. And so you're going to be looking at June and July. When you staple it, you want the ends of the staples to be on the inside so it doesn't snag on things. And you want it to be in the middle so that it folds correctly. So that's why we cut this extra piece that should be the same as the outside. But it's really this direction that we want to fold. So this is the short side and the long side, and you want to fold this in half. When I make these calendars, I use my long arm stapler, mostly for this part right here, because you can put where this staples, where the fold is, and then it's really easy to just jam these in here to the stop, and it staples in the correct place. But let me show you how to use a standard stapler to do this. Most standard desk staplers are plenty long to get that in there. And if yours opens up like mine does, it's going to be a lot handier. And you're going to put that fold right where that will staple. And then you want some dimensionals to work as your stop. You're going to put those on this side of the paper, right where the edge of the paper is. And you don't have to take off the backing. You actually don't want it to stick. So leave the backing on and then put that back. So you do want a little extra on the ends here. So fold it over and let it go to the stop. And if I've done it correctly, that should fold perfectly. And you will want to use a bone folder because you're folding a pretty thick stack of paper here. And there's the staple right in the middle. So you do want these ends here on the inside. And then we need to decorate it. This piece is actually going to go on the front of your calendar. I think it's going to be easiest for you to not put that inside the calendar when you decorate it. I'm not even sure if I showed you my stamp sets. I used a new stamp set on the horizon. This comes in a suite with a die set and this gorgeous paper that's practically done giving you scenery in a kind of a watercolory loose look. But I thought relax and enjoy your day was perfect for the calendar. I went with kind of a shabby chic look, which is not my forte. It's pretty much out of my comfort zone. But I wanted some spatter, but Quiet Meadow does spatter in a very precise, controlled way. So I used Quiet Meadow instead of spattering. And then I used Amazing Silhouettes for my main image. This is a beautiful stamp set. And so I used this stamp here. And I used Granny Apple Green. And I stamped right on the Designer Series paper. And so I'm going way over to the side. So then I added my controlled spatter, and I basically put a stamp above and to the left of the image, one down below, and one up here. So I get pretty good coverage with that. And while I'm stamping, I'm going to go ahead and stamp Relax and Enjoy Your Day on this scrap that I cut off. I'm using the Label Me Fancy punch. And I'm punching out my greeting. And then I'm using our new, this is called a Bough Punch. And so as soon as I spotted this, this was like, I need to have that. I love the leaf punch. So I'm going to go ahead and punch this with Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to punch the white. And I really just want the flowers, so I'm just going to push this in part way. Before I put those on, I want to put some vellum on, and I just want to tear a random scrap that kind of fits about that big. Now the thing about vellum though is that you kind of have to work to get it random. It really wants to tear nice and straight. I love though that it looks a little bit white where you do tear it. It adds a lot to it, I think. And I'm just going to put that here. I'm going to be covering up this middle section. So if I put my adhesive here, I don't have to worry about it showing. And one of the tricks that I've just discovered is I have used my finger to roll this. If you just roll it a bit on your silicone mat, it will pull up the next little bit of adhesive. And that's wonderful. So I'm putting this here. And then I'm going to put my leaves on next. And I do make a point of keeping these facing opposite. Just a little dab will do you. You do not want to use a lot of adhesive with this multi-purpose liquid glue. And in fact, sometimes it's better to put your little dots on and then give it a chance to dry. It turns clear when it dries, but it does stay sticky. And if you let it dry a bit, it won't ooze out for you. But I think I was successful in just adding a tiny drop. So I'm going to put this leaf down kind of below our stamped image. And then the white one, I'm going to be covering up these stems, so I'm not really worried about it. But just having a little bit of the white peeking through behind the green, or between the greens, I think looks lovely. The next thing is a scrap of the soft seafoam. This is easier to tear randomly, and if you, like, I don't know if you can see how I'm just tearing little bits at a time, and I'm pulling up, which gives quite a bit of exposed middle layer, which adds a lot of texture. And anywhere between 1/2 inch and maybe 3/4 of an inch. We just want to have a little patch of color back behind our tag. And I do want to make sure that this adhesive is covered up. I don't want to cover up these too much. So that looks good. Maybe I'll have it at a different angle. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of this crinkled white seam binding. And I came up with a way of adding ribbon, which I liked very much. So I'm adding just maybe a couple of inches of adhesive here, kind of at the bottom of the cardstock. And again, I'm getting kind of a random wiggly piece of ribbon, but in a very controlled way. I guess that's the way I am. So I'm putting this down in the corner and sticking it to the adhesive, pulling it down, and then folding it back up. I'm doing this kind of zigzag here. And you only need about 8 inches. And maybe one more loopy thing. 2 or 3 loops. And that's it. And we'll get a little bit of this random granny apple green. Again, tearing up. And this has a straight edge. I want to be sure and rough up that straight edge. Don't want any of the straight cut edge. And then this is going to cover up the tops of those loops and also add another pop of color behind my label. That's a lot of glue. Probably should not have added so much. And some of this is exposed, but that's where my label's going. If you're putting it in one of these checkbook covers, you probably do not want to use dimensionals. But if you're having it loose, something that will be kind of on your desk, you can put dimensionals if you'd like. So I will put dimensionals on here. And if it's going to be something you're going to put in your pocket or in your purse, or hopefully it's going to hold up to a year worth of opening and closing and fussing and stacking and all the wear and tear that you'll give it, plenty of dimensionals on here. And then I'm covering up the base of my stems and also any random ribbon up here. And that's it. And so I'm just ready to glue it onto my checkbook cover. And that's it. Happy New Year. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up! Also on my website, you can click Home near the top of the page to find lots of resources. Under Shop, you can find the products I offer to make crafting more convenient, how to get free products with my frequent shopper rewards, and a link to my online store at Stampin' Up! Click Inspiration to scroll all my projects back to 2011, most with detailed directions and videos. Though the products in those older projects have been retired, you may find techniques, layouts, and color combinations to inspire you today. If you're new to stamping, you might want to take a look at the basics. You'll find out how to cut card bases and layers, and what's special about Stampin' Up!, and some of my favorite tools. Under Organization, you'll find tons of free resources such as catalog tabs, labels and case inserts, color tools, and much more. You can take a tour of my craft wall. More organization means more time for crafting. Come stamp with me here in Ventura County, California, or get the best deal of all and join my team of crafters. The team is called SIP Together, and it stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper Together. The team is made of crafters who want to save money on the products they buy, share with a few friends, or grow a business like mine. Be sure to subscribe to my website and on YouTube. Talk to you soon. Bye.